Nice to meet you so much. Thank you so much for joining, by the way. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you taking time for this. By the way, this is like my first ever podcast, like an official, like a podcast
Cool.
interview that I'm doing. So I'm excited
I,
to have you here as a first guest, William. I looked at your, great work that you did, with real estate and your keep, the company that you're running. But yeah, and also before we start, I mean, looking at your track record, right? I'm really grateful. With respect to time, when you do even great stuff in the future, people want to come back and see what William was like, or what Bill was like when he was, younger. So they would want to come back and see this podcast, one of the podcasts, definitely on the interviews. So I'm so thankful, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm grateful too. I appreciate you. And
yeah,
I like connecting with people online and connecting with people around the world. It's uh
yeah.
it's something that we get to do in 2025, so why not take advantage of it?
Yep, definitely leverage. Okay, so before we start, can you just real quick introduce yourself? Where you from, what do you do, and what have you done, and just for the audience,
Yeah. So my name's Will Xander. I'm born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona, in the United States, and I'm 22 years old. I That's kind of, I don't know. I could say a lot about me. There's many facets of who I am. I'm the founder of a software company called TruthKeep, and we do at a high level AI solutions, but what we really do are data analytics with AI. And I love innovation. I love technology. I love talking and thinking about the future. I love philosophy. I love reading, writing in my journal. I've been writing in a journal for years now. Um, and yeah, it's kind of, I could continue, but
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So before we dive into some really deep and profound questions, I want to put a spark on your childhood. So what were you like as a child? Like, were you shy? What were your hobbies? What you used to do when you were like, just young and child? I mean, you're still young, but
Yeah.
relatively, yeah.
I think when I was a child, I was very curious and very outgoing. I absolutely hated school so much. Hated school like more than anything. I even in preschool, when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, some of my earliest memories were going to my mom every single day in the morning and asking her if I had to go to school because I didn't want to go. Maybe because it was boring to me. Um,
Can I also
but
add
yeah,
something to it? So it's pretty ironic because we have a common point there because I remember in my pre-primary, uh, uh, transformed to the first grade, right? Transition to first grade. So I was crying. I didn't want to go to like the first grade because I hated school, and I've always hated school, just like you. I've always
yeah,
hated academics. I've always stayed quiet in the classroom. I never used to talk. And whenever a teacher used to like ask me a question, I was like, oh no, I can't answer.
yeah.
I just used to like nod my head like, no, I can't do it. Okay, I can't. Okay, yeah, carry on.
Well,
Yeah,
well, I was I was a troublemaker, so I wasn't necessarily silent either. I mean, I I would in kindergarten, I would, you ask about my childhood. I would show up to school in two different colored Crocs. I don't know if you know
okay.
Crocs, and I would do that
Yeah,
on purpose. They're two different colors. And I would get to school and just take them off, and wouldn't wear shoes all day. And my teacher would ask me to put on my shoes, and I would argue and say no. Um, it's weird. I don't know why, but I was always just trying to get attention in some way, shape, or form, or make people laugh. I was always trying to make people laugh, but I did not pay attention whatsoever. And I didn't. It's weird because like I really do like educating myself, and I really love to learn,
mm,
but it was really difficult for me to learn in that medium. Another thing that my mom has told me is that I couldn't learn in school, but if we were to go to a museum or something like that, I would basically be like a recording of the museum walking out, right? I'd be able to explain everything that we saw and the details behind it and the history behind it or whatever. And so, as a child, I was always outgoing and curious and interested in different things and hanging out with my friends. And yeah, so
Did you have a lot of friends growing up, or were you like one of those people who has a small group of friends?
always had a small group of friends, always just tight knit, good friends, like
Mm,
people I would call my brother.
okay,
So
same, yeah.
yeah.
Um, and one more thing, who were your childhood heroes? Like, who did you look up to? Was it your family, like your dad? Was it someone from the movies, or I mean, anyone? It was like your hero
Yeah.
at that
Yeah. I definitely looked up to my dad, but this sounds crazy. My dad is a successful guy, but he's not like, there's levels of success. He's very successful, but he's not like Kobe Bryant or like Steve Jobs or something like that, right?
time.
Um, so always looked up to my dad for sure, but then past that would definitely be Steve Jobs. I've always been inspired by Steve Jobs. I've always kind of talked about him and thought about him. And then another person named Steve, who's incredibly successful. He's built a multi-billion dollar company. I don't want to say his full name, but my dad would tell me stories about him growing up, and I always, I don't know, I always was like, wow, like that guy is really fascinating, and how did he do it, and it always drove me to be curious. So I mean, I remember in like fifth or sixth grade, I would write stories about doing business with these people, like Steve Jobs or with this other person, Steve, who's in the real estate business, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, those were probably my two heroes, Steve Jobs and then Steve. I don't need to say his last name, but
Okay,
yeah,
definitely. It definitely makes sense, because what you did with real estate at a such a
yeah,
young
that is
age.
kind of weird thinking about it. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of funny. I didn't even realize
But
that.
yeah, let's kind of talk about on that more. Like, can you walk us through like that transition? Since you mentioned like you were failing high school, you never like academics. I think I also saw your tweet in Built in Public channel where you mentioned like some bullet points, and you said you were failing high school and you did not get accepted in any university. ASU was it? Arizona State University.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and SU accepts you if you breathe. So
Yeah, I know. I think it's acceptance is like 90% or something.
yeah,
I know a lot of people from India, if they don't get in Ivy League, that's like their, I think, the backup school or something. Yeah.
yeah, right.
So okay, can you like walk us through like that transition? Okay, before you do, can you like for the viewers, can you tell us what you did in with real estate? Like everything about that you did, that you and also how did you get into real estate? Was it okay, I also read your letter or some article that your whole family was in like real estate or something. Is that true? Okay, your grandfather
Yeah.
and your father. Oh yeah. So what was like your sparking or how did it spark interest, in real estate? So, you know?
So it's a bit of a long story. So like I said, like I had these heroes growing up, right? One was Steve Jobs, and he's
Yeah.
technology. And then one was this guy, Steve, who is in the real estate business. And then my dad, he is a land developer. So what he does is he doesn't develop property, he develops land, which means he buys a piece of land and then he uh, converts it into multiple pieces of land, like legally, right? So it's
Okay.
like one lot, and then he splits it into four lots, and then he can sell those lots individually to people.
Mm,
And so I grew up with that. And then my uncle and my grandfather, they both are investors. They own a bunch of commercial real estate, retail real estate, like shopping centers and things like that. So growing up, my uncle Dan and my dad, they would really mentor me and influence me. They would take me around the state. They'd show me real estate. They would take me to different events, and they would speak to me like I was an adult, right? Almost like I understood what was going on, but I really didn't. But it gets grained into your head. And throughout high school, I deep down I knew that I was going to sell commercial real estate as my first job. I just always knew that. And so when I turned 18, I got my real estate license. And for about a year, I searched for a job. And I literally would just walk in cold to real estate firms. I didn't want
Mm.
my dad to help me. I didn't want my uncle to help me. I didn't want my grandpa to help me. I got my real estate license and I just started walking into firms saying, "Hey, my name's Will. I have my real estate license. I'm gonna work my ass off. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll get you guys coffee." Like literally, I was doing that, telling people that. And I got denied dozens and dozens of times. Like I probably walked into 30 brokerages. And that lasted for about a year. And by the end of it, I walked into Orion Investment Real Estate and they gave me a chance. And so they connected me with a mentor, someone who I'm incredibly grateful for. His name's Zach, and he was 36, 37 at the time. And he was and is making a lot of money selling apartment buildings, so multifamily apartments. And I was like, okay, I want to do that. And he took me under his wing. And, when I got the opportunity, I was writing in my journal and
Mm.
I have this page. It's beautiful. I basically said, wow, I got the job. I'm so grateful for, all these people. I can't believe this is happening. This is, a once in a lifetime opportunity. I have to take this opportunity incredibly seriously. I'm not going to let this one down, right? That's basically what I said, give or take. And so in that moment, I had a real heart to heart with myself. I, had a long conversation to me, basically saying, I'm going to start working really, really hard. And from that day on, I started working like 12 hours a day, like literally. Um, some people would think that's crazy. Like, what? You just went from like not having a job to like thinking you're Kobe Bryant? And I'm like, yeah, that's like exactly what happened. And I knew that you had to make a lot of cold calls. And so, I mean, I was making cold calls from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. And
Mm.
I did that for a very, very long time for commercial real estate. And the market was in a great spot as well. Apartments were transacting, and I knew enough about the business and I knew enough on how to sell that I was able to sell $40 million worth of real estate in the first 12 months of working. Yeah.
That's wow, $40 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I didn't make 40 million. That's obviously right. But, I sold in that first year, I sold probably 10 deals and it ranged from, a 4 unit building, right? Just a fourplex all the way to an 87 unit apartment building. And I did all of that by myself. No one gave me a deal. Nobody, you know, referred me to somebody. It was all because of my own cold calling and outreach. So
How old were you when you like earned your first dollar? Or like actual money, like big money, or just,
big money. I mean, I don't think I've made big money yet. Whatever, but it's all relative, right? I've made a lot of money. I've made great money for my age, but the first entrepreneurial dollar I ever made, I was probably um, there was probably some time when I was younger that I don't remember, but that I do remember, I was 12. That was my first
Wow.
entrepreneurial dollar.
Yeah.
Um, and then the first deal that I closed, I was 19. I was 19, I think.
Okay.
Or I was 20. Yeah. And that was from brokerage. Yeah.
So I mean, you're closing 60 million plus dollars, 40 million plus dollars deals. Um, so I mean, definitely did definitely on your cut, right? I mean, your commission, your profit. So what did you do with that money? Like, like as a young person, teenager.
Yeah. I save it. I save it. I invest it. I own some rental properties. I fund my company, TruthKeep.
Okay.
Um, and other than that, yeah, save, invest, and spend on my company, and then
Did,
rent and dinner and whatever. Yeah.
did you not go and buy like a Lamborghini or something?
No, not at
Okay.
all. Not at all.
Okay. 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 You mentioned
Not at all.
everything. Yeah. About real estate. But I mean, you're still young. You're still a teenager. I truly want to know, like, what was going on in your mind that led you to do this? Like, what was your mission? You gotta have a mission, right? That's what I've learned being in this space for a while. Like, you gotta have a mission, and that's the only way you can like get stuff or things done. What was your mission at that time? And like, what was going through your mind? Okay, I gotta do this. I gotta just, work 12 hours a day. Or what was like the purpose? Why not just, be a regular teenager? Or why not just, take it slow? Maybe go travel country or just hang out with friends. But why this? Was it because out of you wanted to earn a lot of money? Was it because you want to be independent? Was it because I don't know, you saw a movie and then I don't know, like I mean definitely your parents, I mean your family did play a vital role, but like what was like your take? Like why this? Like so much, like at such a young age as well,
Yeah, yeah. This is a really good question. Um, we all have our reasons why we do things, and I think I have a lot of reasons why. There's so many pieces to the pie. I have many reasons why. And that's a good thing, right? Because if you only have one reason why, if it's not that strong, you'll give up,
Yeah, you,
right?
you won't be able to persevere when it gets hard, especially.
That's right. And if you
Yeah.
have 20 reasons why, and every single one is super strong,
Mm.
you'll you'll just keep going, right? And so for me, there's a lot of reasons why, and it ranges, right? Some are really deep rooted, and some are really surface level and kind of like, cool. Um, so I would say it's tough. It's tough. This is where I always get into a debate about free will with my friends because it's almost like I couldn't, even though I've worked very, very hard, and that in theory is all free will,
Mm.
right? I've made the decisions to make me get to this point, but it's almost like I didn't make the decision and my soul or something has just forced me here today, literally. Um, so yeah, what drives me is to be, I just detailed, I guess I'd say the idea of death. Death drives me substantially. Um, I would say, just the fact that you only live one life, as I don't totally maybe believe that, but as we know, you only live one life, right? So it's limited. So do all that you can. Legacy drives me, and even though legacy doesn't matter in the end, to me it matters right now. Ego, right? See, like that's like a surface level why, like,
But
but
it's
also,
fair. It's fair. It
yeah.
works, it works. Yeah.
Well, for sure, we all have ego. I remember a couple of years ago, I read this book. I forgot who it's by, but it's called Ego is the Enemy. And I was telling my grandparents,
Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
Ryan
yeah,
Holiday.
right. And I was telling my grandparents about it, and they were like, "Will, you need ego. Like for who you want to be and where you're going, like you need ego, but you also need humility, right?"
Mm.
And so I would say ego is a driver, but it's not, but that's one of the surface level whys, right? So what's like a deep rooted why? Personally, I really, really want a family and an amazing wife and a big family, numerous kids. I don't want one kid. I don't want two kids. I want a lot. And and so what calls me to work so hard today is so that I can provide for my future family. That's a huge driver. That's a huge driver. Um, some more reasons why is, like I said, going into the free will conversation, it's like I
Also,
couldn't be
yeah.
doing what I'm doing today. Yeah. So, yeah.
Uh, I mean, what about humanity? Since I mean, you used to look up to people like Steve Jobs. I mean, I personally have obsessed over Steve Jobs. I mean, I read this book,
Yeah.
I have on my shelf. I've watched all his movies, like I don't know, like 100 times. I've
Yeah.
about like
Yeah.
all these speeches from '84,
Yeah.
Macintosh launch, all the speeches, every like I watch them every day, his interviews. So like, what do you think? Like, is it also humanity in some way or form? Like, you have to, do great stuff for obviously for yourself first, but then also for, like, how what Elon Musk is doing, great work for humanity in general, again, to Mars and whatnot. So, do you think humanity also plays a role, or is it just your personal?
Yeah, 100%, and that's a deeper reason why. The reason it's not the first thing that I think of is because it's difficult to gauge that. You know what I mean? It's so easy to say that someone like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs has benefited humanity, which they have 100%. But that's only one reason why for them. I promise you, they have dozens and dozens and dozens of reasons why. Elon Musk, publicly facing, will say, we got to get to Mars, we got to be multiplanetary, et cetera, et cetera. But
Mhm.
there's other things that drive him, whether it's good or bad, that we don't really know about, right? And so, you know, for me, I do believe in the in benefiting humanity with my technology, especially as we move forward in the future and expand and grow. And I want to get involved in quantum computing and things like that as
Interesting.
I grow and as the
Yeah.
world grows technologically. But it's hard to say. And I used to write about that all the time. Like, I'm going to change the world for the better. I'm going to impact the world in such a positive way. Like, I'm going to leave my footprint. And it stressed me out. Uh, I was like, I need to stop thinking about that and actually do the task at hand. Um, because you'll dig yourself a pit, right?
Would
If
you
you're
would you
just
say would you say you were procrastinating?
when.
I mean, when you like used to write down, but you didn't used to like do them, like or any kind of.
Well, you can't necessarily procrastinate like changing the world. Like, you can change your world, but I
Yeah,
can't I can't go change, China's opinion about Taiwan like right now. Like, I just
yeah.
can't. I mean, maybe that's like a limiting belief, but as of right now, I can't do that. So I need to do the things that could maybe lead me to doing that one day and then actually change the world as time goes on. So yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So are you currently still active in real estate, or are you like going full on in the TruthKeep AI, the company that you run?
Yeah, so I'm super grateful because I have not made one cold call well, that's not true. I mean, I have not pushed my real estate business at all in over a year. And last year I did very well in commercial real estate without making a lot of cold calls or trying to create new business because I had old business that fell into last year. This year, I mean, like 98% of my life is revolved around TruthKeep. And then there's some other things related to real estate, and I own some real estate. And so, I have tenants, and so I'm doing some landlord stuff as well. Um, so I will always be connected to real estate for the rest of my life in some way, shape, or form, but not as a broker. I basically am out of the brokerage business. So
It seems that you have transitioned from non-technical to technical somewhat, right? So, I mean, what inspired you? I mean, you were started doing great stuff in real estate. But what made you shift to like a technology company, like an AI company, for being
yeah,
specific?
yeah. So it's funny, like looking back. So I decided I was going to start a software company at the end of 2022. That's when I made that decision. I started in real estate at the end of 2021. So about a year of being in real estate. And for the last couple of years, I've thought, oh, I never really thought about starting a business until a year after being in real estate. But I read in my journal the other day, a month into working into real estate, I said, this is the short term. this is my stepping stone. I'm going to start a business soon. And I forgot that I even wrote that.
You
And that
knew
was,
that. Wow.
yeah, right. I knew that. And that was before I even had any success in real estate. I was already thinking about the next thing, which is wild because then I had a ton of success and then I still did what I wanted to do. So what happened was I killed it and I had a lot of success and my ego was inflated and I worked really, really hard. And I thought, wow, if I apply this hard work to anything I do, I will succeed. And ChatGPT 3.5 was launched in November of 2022. I knew how powerful of a tool it was. I knew it wasn't like an NFT, like a fad. I knew it was going to really take over the
Yeah.
world. I could see the value. I could see how impactful that technology really was and is. And so from then on, I said, okay, I'm going to start a software company. That's it. I'm going to be in the AI space. That's what I'm going to do. And I started spending 1 hour per day. This is at the beginning of 2023. 1 hour a day, just 1 hour. I would block off 1 hour every day to find out what type of software company I wanted to build. And I called that 1 hour of discovery work. It was on my whiteboard. I just blocked it off every single day. And I did that for about 3 months. And sometimes I would just do research on AI, and other times I would like learn about startups, like raising money or bootstrapping, or like what's an MVP or what's product market fit, just like things that you don't really think about until you start diving into the world. And I came up with an idea, and that was like Truth Keep OG OG. That was like the original Truth Keep. And the problem I wanted to solve was fighting disinformation online. I wanted to get rid of all the propaganda in the world. And that's really when I was in the mind space of I'm going to impact the world so positively. And it's so funny looking back, like how naive I was and arrogant. Just like the idea that I thought that I could bootstrap a for-profit company that
Mm.
would get rid of propaganda. That's impossible. First of all, to actually build an AI tool that can see what's true and what's false, like community notes on X, like that's not cheap. All right. Like you can't do that with a couple hundred grand. Like, no. And at that time, I didn't even want to spend a couple hundred grand. I wanted to spend like nothing. I was trying to convince people to work for me for free to build this like complex product that I had no idea how it would work or what it would do. And then on top of that, I wanted it to be a for-profit company. So it's like my brain, like I wanted to be the arbiter of truth and make profit doing it. Like that's insane. So that failed very quickly. The only way for that to work is it would have to be a nonprofit and it would have to be funded by the people, not by any organization or any, right? It would have to be funded by like almost like democratically, um, so that there's like not one, uh, you know, weighing opinion. Like you get what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah.
Republican Party,
Yeah,
whatever,
I do
or
get
the
it. Yeah.
Catholic Church. Like, yeah, you don't want them to fund that. And so that failed pretty quickly. And then I was talking to a buddy of mine. I was like, man, I've spent like the last 6 months like thinking about software and I started TruthKeep and it failed. And he was like, oh, well, I have a buddy who's a software engineer. Like, you should just talk to him. So I linked up with this dude. I convinced him to be a 50-50 co-founder on a different software idea. And that was called Deal Aid. And that was like AI for real estate people.
Mm.
And we became 50-50 partners. He is a cool guy, but he didn't want to. I'm sorry if he hears this one day, but he didn't have that startup ambition that's needed to start a startup. Honestly, I would say that to him. So it's not that big of a deal. He just didn't. And so after a couple of months, we broke up. But also, let me blame myself a little bit. I was also green and still naive, still am to this day, probably. But so I didn't really understand how difficult it was to build what we were trying to build, and I was trying to get him to build it. And we broke up a couple of months later. And when the week we broke up, a couple of days later, I get an email from Arizona State University saying, hey, remember, at the beginning of this year when you applied for this program for Truth Keep OG? Well, we've selected Truth Keep to be a project that we want to sponsor. And I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even remember applying. And I was like, okay. So at that time, when I first started TruthKeep, I applied to this program where they give you four software engineers to work for you for free, help you build out a prototype. And this is literally the week me and this guy broke up. I was really bummed and I didn't know what to do. I was like, wow, I've spent almost a year trying to build something. I have nothing. I have no co-founder. I've spent money. I got nothing. And ASU sponsored me. And I was like, okay, I have this sponsorship. I have these four software engineers that are going to work for me for free for the next like 6 months. What can I build related to TruthKeep? And I thought, okay, I'm going to help politicians traverse through the media landscape. So we're going to scrape social media data, news media data, and we're going to provide them insights on that, almost like reputation management in some way. And started going down that path. I started networking hard in the political industry. I was meeting with mayors, legislators, city council members, congressmen, governors, like on and on and on, top political consultants, lobbyists, advocacy groups, like goes on.
Can I ask a follow-up question? How did
Yeah.
you how did you set a meeting with all these, people like politicians? It's not easy, I assume.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'd say that's probably one of my skills is networking and figuring out, there's this book by Alex Benayan called The Third Door. You should read it.
Okay.
Amazing book, amazing book. And the whole foundation of the book is that there's three doors in life, and imagine it like a club, right? Like a bar or something. The first door, everybody waits in line for. You just get in line, you wait an hour, and maybe you'll get in, maybe you don't, whatever. Second door is your dad's friend owns the club, and he just kind of lets you in. You get to skip the whole line. The third door is you got to find it. You don't know where it is. It's
Unknown.
somewhere, and you'll be able to skip the line. You'll be able to get in, but you don't know where it is. You don't know when you're going to find it. You don't know how to find it, but you have to find it, and you will find it. And once you find it, you'll get in the club. And so that's like the basis of my life, literally, third door. And so, how do I get in contact, or how did I get in contact with some of these people? Third door methodology, just doing whatever I could to get in front of certain people or finding their phone number, finding their email, or, you know, and then luck as well. Like, one time I was trying to get in contact with the mayor of Scottsdale for a long time. One day I had a meeting with a mentor of mine at a coffee shop. I call him, I'm like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, man, I'm so sick. I can't show up. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. And I'm walking out and I see the mayor of Scottsdale just walking down the street. And I'm like, Mayor Ortega, like, hello, my name is Will Xander. I've been trying to contact you for so long. And I gave him a quick elevator pitch and he's like, oh, let's sit down. And then him and I had a 2 hour coffee, right?
Wow.
And so but that's some third door stuff. Like, and so when I made the decision I'm doing politics, my whole life became how can I wedge my way into that industry? And I did majorly. And now I have friends that are legit politicians, um, congressmen and legislators, and uh, huge donors to different political parties are my friends now. And they respect me and they would vouch for me and so on and so forth. So I'm really grateful. Yeah.
You have been in like multiple industries, like in real estate and now in AI. So, what are like your top learnings? Like, what do you learn from both of these that you would wanna, advise? Like, what did you learn from both of these industries? Because they're diverse, they're completely different. And like, what was like this common point in both of them, according to you?
Yeah. I've learned that no matter what you do, try your best, right? That's some simple stuff that I've learned. I mean, I've learned that you're saying, what have I learned combining the two just from everything that I've done?
Yeah, well, like intersection of like both of these industries.
I've learned that sales are different for anything that you're selling, you know. I've
Mm,
always thought, because I've always been selling stuff, right? I would buy and sell clothes when I was 12. I would buy and sell iPhones throughout high school. Um, and I sold a bunch of real estate, and now I'm selling big enterprise AI deals, right? And building a company. Um, I'd say that selling AI solutions is very, very different to selling an apartment building. And that's something that I've learned. Like it's just so different, so different, different people you're talking with, different style of communication, different sales cycle, different attitude. Just everything is different. And so you have to approach it from a unique angle, especially selling these AI solutions to enterprises because it's complicated. An apartment building to some people might be complicated, but it's not. You have a 10 unit apartment building. They're two bedroom, one bathroom units. They earn $1,000 a month. Okay, that's 10,000 a month. What are the expenses? Okay, the expenses are 3,000 a month. Okay, so the net operating income is 7,000 a month. Like it's very simple. An AI solution for a large enterprise, they're like, okay, like what's the ROI? And you have to figure that out. And that's complicated. And so that's one thing that I've learned. Yeah.
also, also, say, I mean, are you like a coder? Like, do you code? You like to code, or like, are you like more inclined towards?
No.
No, you don't.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna overpromise and under deliver here. I'll under promise. I don't code. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. So, I mean, okay, I had this question. I also made a tweet about this the other day, a couple
Yeah.
days back. How do you learn stuff in general? Like, I mean, you mentioned like your mom took you to this museums whenever she used to take you, and you
Yeah.
used to learn effectively at that time. But how do you truly learn now? I mean, okay, looking at your story and every experience that you've shared, you're definitely a practical type of person, you know. So how do you learn? Like, is it through courses? Is it through experiences? Is it through mentors? Like, effectively, or is it definitely not from academics or classes, but like, how do you personally learn effectively?
I watch a lot of YouTube. So I watch a lot of YouTube. I I read a pretty decent amount of books and I listen to books. I journal a lot, and I think journaling is so substantial. Oh my God. It's one of the most impactful things you can do. Um, I I mean, I would say that's about it. Yeah, listen to books, read books,
What's
write.
your number one book that you would want to recommend? I also read a lot of books as well.
Yeah, there's a few. Some of my favorites would be I love The Lean Startup
Okay.
by Eric
Eric
Ries. Eric,
Wise.
yeah,
Mhm.
I love that book. There's like I'm actually writing an article about one of those chapters right now. It's chapter 6 called Test. That's the chapter, and he says success is not delivering a feature. Success is actually solving a problem, right? It's so important because we've all delivered features before, right? Oh, here's this little widget, or you know, oh, this analyzes the news for you. Like, it's cool feature, but like, is it really solving a problem? And are you solving a problem that's worth solving? So I'd say the Lean Startup. I'd say Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I love that book. And then I'd say The Alchemist. Those are probably my top three.
Okay. So I was reading this article from you on Medium about narrative analysis. I think I mentioned it to you, DM'd you as well after that. I was like really, I really enjoyed it. I really learned a lot. And I also like made notes, by the way. I don't know, you probably can't see this, but yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned like narrative analysis. It helps you, it tells you exactly what to fix. Find a story. It gives you what customers care about most, and then sentiment adds emotional context. which I found to be truly interesting and really helpful. And then you also mentioned about AI. So what influenced you? Like, can you like, or maybe just emphasize more on these terms?
Yeah, yeah. So what TruthKeep is doing today is we are helping customer experience and customer support teams in large organizations manage customer feedback with AI. And that means a lot of things, right? So we're focused on all different forms of data related to the customer, whether it's internal data, customer support tickets, surveys, contact us cases, call center data, et cetera, or it's external data like social media, Reddit, YouTube, whatever. And so when there's enough data to be analyzed, our AI system can go through and find narratives, right?
Mm,
So a narrative is a reoccurring discussion point, and the AI automatically creates that narrative based on the data. So an example I could give you is, let's say there's 15,000 surveys analyzed based off of a company's product or service. And the most reoccurring discussion point within these surveys is that the uh, ability to cancel the service is really difficult. Our AI will recognize that and immediately create an automatic narrative that then the customer support or customer experience team can see and gain insight. Um, but that's not only what we're doing, right? We're utilizing sentiment. So the narrative could be, you know, um, the cancellation, the ability to cancel, how easy it is. And then the sentiment is negative or positive, right? Maybe it's really easy to cancel and people like that, or maybe it's really hard to cancel and people dislike that.
mm,
So the CX person or the customer support person can say, okay, so here's the most reoccurring narrative, right? This narrative is prevailing against all of the other ones, and it's a really negative narrative. And then our AI is utilizing explainable AI to give them context as to why that narrative is negative and why that narrative is there. So then the XAI will say, the reason this I created this narrative and the
mm.
reason it's this negative is because of these reasons. And we program the AI to approach the situation or approach the CX member with that attitude, right? So it's searching for a conclusion that can ultimately benefit the CX team. So
Wow. So basically, tells you the problem, like what's the problem that's happening in your business. Okay.
yeah, cut through the noise.
And also, I think I saw that you have a client, which is from Fortune 500 company. It's a Fortune 500 company, semiconductor company, with the biggest
Yep.
customer.
Yes.
So how did you get those? I mean, looking at your story, right? I mean, you were in real estate first, and then you transitioned to technical kind of, you know. So like, how did you just get this? One of the biggest clients. I mean, it's a Fortune 500 company you're talking about. So how did you get those a company?
It's a crazy story, man. It's a crazy story. This is some third door stuff right here, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, so I decided I'm going to start a software company, and I build TruthKeep OG. I build Deal Aid. It fails. I start building TruthKeep OG, with the politicians, and I worked on that from basically September of 2023 to August 2024. Around April, May of 2024, I started feeling terrible about what I was building. It reminded me of what Steve Jobs says, where he goes, you got to ask yourself every day if you love
What's
what you're
it?
about to do, right? And if you answer no too many days in a row, you got to make a change, right?
Something has to
And so
change. Yeah.
I was answering no every day. I was like, I do not want to go do this. I don't want to go to this political event. I don't want to build this product for politicians. I don't want my customers to be politicians. I don't like the product that I'm building in general. It was all of these things that were piling up, and I was keeping it all internalized because I had spent a ton of money on TruthKeep. I had spent so long trying to build this thing, and I was like, I'm going to keep pushing until I can't anymore. And I was at an event in May of 2024,
Mm.
and I presented to 100 plus people about what we were doing in the political space, right? So I had this slideshow, and I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're doing these data analytics, narrative analysis, sentiment analysis for politicians. And I got off the stage and I went to the back, and the chief operating officer of this Fortune 500 semiconductor company came up to me and he said, Will, I absolutely hate politics. And I was like, oh my God, because I felt the same way. I was like, me too, man. I didn't say that, but that's how I felt. And he's like, so I hate politics, but I love what you're doing technologically. And I think you could help us solve a problem that we're having. And I didn't even, I had met this guy a few times, but I didn't really know much about his company or anything like that. And he gave me his card, and I was like, cool, thanks. Put it in my pocket. And I'm driving home, and I look him up, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this is a $50 billion company, and this guy's the
Um,
COO. And I still didn't think much of it at that time. I was like, well, I'm not going to give up on politics right now. Like this means nothing. Like this is just a maybe opportunity. And we kept engaging and continuing the conversation, and that ultimately led to us working on multiple projects with them, and closing deals. And so through that process, I kept pushing on politics, and then after a few months, I just made the executive decision. We're out of politics. We're focusing on the large enterprise. We're selling B2B. We're still doing data analytics in some way. We still have sentiment analytics. We still have narrative analytics. But then there's these other things that we're doing as well. And that's how we made that pivot. And so, I wasn't even going to go speak at that event because I was so depressed about what we were doing in politics. And I showed up to that event, and I was the last one to present, and I was about to leave early. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. And then I did it, and then we got this opportunity, and this has created where we are today. It's beautiful.
so were you like alone, or like was your team with you, the group of four software engineers that you mentioned before? Are you alone in that meeting or?
So around this time, actually a couple of months prior, I met my co-founder, and his name's Anthony. Amazing person. He's very technical, and we met, and I just hired him on to be a tech guy. Like I didn't think of him as a co-founder from the beginning, and I was paying him a lot of money, and I was paying him money like a lot for many many months, and I was basically just burning the money because I was pouring it into a product that I hated. And then as we, you know, got this opportunity with this Fortune 500 company, and we had some meetings with some big venture capital firms like Google Ventures. I had a convo with him, and he brought it up. He's like, Will, I want you to stop paying me, and I want to be on board. I want to be on board full time. I see the vision. I want to do this with you. And I said, fuck yeah. I was like, awesome. Because we had already worked together for almost a year at that point, and we work really well together. And so I was like, okay, you're my guy. Let's go. And and so now, yeah, so he's been a part of this process, especially with this Fortune 500 company, like deeply. Yeah, the whole time.
Okay. So I mean, typical when someone starts a startup. I mean, nowadays, a lot of people. I mean, especially in India, where I'm from, they dream to go to Silicon Valley and just work with extraordinary minds, and great people. Typically, they raise money. Like do you know Y Combinator? All these
Mhm.
yeah. Like I mean, there is money. So like, did you also apply for like some kind of fellowship or some kind of programs for like your startup to raise money, or like did you like self-fund it from what you earned from like maybe real estate or somewhere else?
Yeah, entirely self-funded. Yeah.
Self-funded.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I've never taken any investment from anybody.
that's impressive. Also, some a profound question. I mean, if you what's a misconception according to you that people have about AI, according to you?
People are scared.
People are scared. So do you think
Yeah,
they should be scared, or do you think they should not be scared?
I think they should be questionable,
Hmm.
but not scared. That's crazy.
Okay.
Scared. I'm scared of getting in a car crash, knock on wood. But like I don't, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
That's a nice mindset. If you could,
yeah.
okay. And also, if you could if you could design an AI system to solve like one global issue, what would that be? Like, yeah.
Get rid of disinformation in the world.
Okay, I mean that's what you're aiming for in the first place. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that still is I'm still very passionate about that problem. I've learned so much about it. I absolutely hate disinformation so much. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I just hate it. It's like, ugh.
It's
It's just I
everywhere.
hate.
It's everywhere
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I just hate being bamboozled. Just tell me the truth. I hate liars. I just hate that stuff. So yeah, like if I could just solve a problem, it'd be the disinformation one. And then
That's
I
why
guess that
mhm.
could be like healthcare stuff.
That's why I use Perplexity AI. Do you use Perplexity AI? Oh, okay. What skills do you think? I mean, okay, so how long have you been in this industry for? Like 2 years approx or a year?
Yeah, approximately 2 years. I've been pushing software for about 2 years now.
Okay. And what skills, according to you, um, professional develop to remain in this competitive AI landscape, AI-driven landscape? What do you think?
It depends on the product you're selling. So if
Mm,
it's a product with high touch sales, like what we're doing today, you need to be a good salesperson. You have to be articulate. You need to be um, personable. You have to be fearless um, and relentless and
mm,
gritty. When it comes to low touch sales, like a product where you don't need to do demos and people just can go on and buy it, you got to know how to work social media, virality, TikTok, Twitter. Um, because like for me, like, yeah, I could blow up on Twitter or X and maybe get customers, but like,
mm.
is like the chief customer experience officer for American Airlines going to find me on Twitter? Maybe. I don't know. But if you have a product that 100,000 people in the build and public community would use and you blow up, your product's going to blow up, right? So you got to be able to work the system in that way. So I guess there's like two sides to the coin. For enterprise like AI SaaS solutions, you got to be good at sales because especially nowadays, I feel like the moat is shrinking around technology. Um, like AI is making development so abundant, engineering so abundant, right? It's making it easier for less talented people, et cetera, et cetera. And so, what is your moat? And it might have to be sales, right? Or a huge part of it. But then for like low touch sales, a product that the masses want and the ability to go viral on social media.
That's valid. I mean, one more question about AI. So,
Yeah.
obviously there's everyone's asking, I mean, everyone's talking about AI, 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 it's everywhere. Everyone knows it. So do you think there will be this bubble, like the bubble that happened in the dot-com era, if you know anything about that? Do you think there'll be an
Yeah.
AI bubble? Uh, because like obviously not everyone's going to succeed in this. I mean, everyone's starting an AI company. So
Yeah.
how do you think, what do you think about this? Like how businesses are actually, or and also how business can actually leverage through AI behind like this hype, beyond this hype. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is a bubble. I think there will be a bubble. I think there's always a bubble when there's new innovations, right? There's always going to be big boom moments um, where everybody wants a piece of the pie. So yeah, 100%, I do believe that. Um, you know, the question is, can you survive? Right? That's the question. Um, so yeah, what was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah. So, there's hype going on, with AI. So, how are businesses, since you're running a company, better than typical people? How are businesses actually leveraging AI beyond like this hype? Like, how are they actually leveraging in general?
Yeah, so it's that's a really good question. The most or like the biggest concern, especially these large enterprises that they have with AI is like we need real ROI. Like what's the practicality of this solution? Is it nice to have or like is it really going to change our lives and our organization? So there's for what we're focused on is automating processes for the customer support, customer experience departments. They're utilizing it to basically train models on documentation to help customer support agents with the process of assisting customers, right? So if it's a semiconductor company, they have really complex products and their customers have really complex problems, right? So when they're reaching out to customer support with a complex problem, the customer support agent will utilize AI to help answer that problem in the most quick way possible, right? Because they're utilizing AI that's trained on the documentation. That's one example. Another example is data and analytics, right? So taking like massive amounts of data that they have and utilizing AI to go through all of that, right? Because analyzing data now is better than it's ever been before because of AI. And that's something that AI is really, really good at analyzing data. And so our number one question to customers is what's a dream metric that you want that you don't have right now? And what's the data source that we could get that dream metric out of? And why are you not utilizing that? And how can we? Right? I think that's really important because, especially in these huge companies like uh, massive, massive companies that have complicated products and hardware, they have so many data sources related to the customer that they don't even know about. And so let's go find all of those data sources and put it into an all-in-one dashboard and utilize AI to sift through all of that. Um, some other, practical applications that I've seen many, many large enterprises do. Everyone's got like a in-house internal AI chatbot. And they're doing this because they don't want their employees on ChatGPT or on, Gemini, right? So they build these internal, private chat bots where employees can utilize it. So the main question is what is the solution and how like ROI driven is it? So
I love that. I'll have to watch this again, this whole clip,
yeah,
to even gain more clarity. But
I
that
know.
was amazing. Okay, let's dive into some couple of personal questions, and
Yeah,
then okay. So, again, owning a company, especially like at such a young age. I mean, I'm 20 years old myself. I'm also in like the middle of the process of doing stuff. But uh, so running a company, owning a company, hiring people, going to places, managing everything by yourself. It gets. I mean, for you personally, does it get lonely? Do you ever feel like? Do you ever cry? Do you ever feel like, um, what if nothing works out? I mean, although you are really strong, with what you have done, but like, do you ever feel like giving up in general? Or even if you do, then how do you manage that? And if you don't, how do you like stay stronger every day? Because life can be pretty hard and it can tear you apart. So how do you like stay
yeah,
afloat, like, mentally and with everything that's going on now, especially like with technology changing overnight, like every second, so you like keep up with everything. So how do you like stay afloat mentally? How do you deal with stress, maybe?
yeah, yeah. No, stress is there. Stress is there. I would say staying physically active, very important. and spending time with friends. I'd say those are really, really important. Um, it'll keep you grounded, right? So, do I cry or have I cried? Yeah, I have cried because of Truth Keep, for sure. Um, have I thought about giving up? Not in a long time. I haven't thought about giving up in a long time. But sometimes you do get very overwhelmed. And the way you got to control that is through physical activity, I really believe. And things like writing in a journal, meditation, understanding that all you have is this moment right now. The future is not real. The past is gone, right? So you kind of have to, it's this weird thing. Like you have to, this is actually one of our like truth keep cultures. Take everything seriously while not taking yourself too seriously at all, right? So like we approach the day as serious as possible. We approach the day as if it's our last. But also we approach the day as if we have a million more days, right? So it's like, how can you find that balance of really deep down knowing that this is really, really, really serious, and this is also not really, really serious? Because I think there's like, I mean, how many galaxies are there? I think it's like
So
10,000
many
billion.
billions, billions, aren't trillions, aren't so many, so many.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, there's like billions and billions and billions of Earth-like planets, I'm pretty sure, in the universe, right? So it's like you're not that special anyway. So, and your company's not that special either.
Yeah.
But you can't live with that. You have to think that it's special. You have to feel that fulfillment. And so it's like finding that balance. So when shit starts to hit the fan, you got to just bring yourself down and say, it's okay. Like I could die tomorrow and it wouldn't matter. So, but then you also have to think, oh shit, I could live another 100 years. Like I need to, this is really important. So,
I like
yeah.
the way you persuade. Um, so okay, some random question. What's your favorite like music band or like singer? I mean, for me, it's like John Lennon and George Harrison. Those are the
Yeah.
type of people who gives me a lot of hope, like with their music, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I, uh, I listen to a lot of rap music. I don't know
Okay,
why.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
I,
surprising. Didn't expect this, but okay, wow.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
rap? Because I used to listen to rap as well, like in 2021 era.
Um, this is crazy, and I'll say this because I don't really care. My most played artist of 2024 was Young Boy Never Broke Again.
Oh my, that was my favorite. Okay, that was my favorite. I used to listen to
Yeah.
Young Boy every time in like 2022, every time. It ain't
Yeah.
over. I ain't scared. I can't
Yeah.
even remember House Arrest things, all those songs. Yeah, definitely.
So Young
But
Boy Never Broke Again. Then
yeah,
Jay-Z probably. I'm pretty upset with what's going on with Jay-Z right now. I don't know if you've read any of those things.
no, I try not to anymore. I used to a lot, but now I don't.
Yeah, it's
Terrible.
very sad because I've always loved Jay-Z. So I hope that's not true, but his music is very inspirational. Um, Kanye West, I love Kanye a lot. I love his music.
What about
Um,
King One? What about King One?
who?
King One. King One, Lil Durk, King One. No?
King Von?
Yeah,
Yeah, King Von. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, I do like King Von. Yeah, I
I
do.
used to listen
Yeah,
to the King One as well.
yeah, King Von, Lil Durk. Yeah, I like all those guys. Yeah, so I'm definitely into rap for sure. I always have been too. Yeah.
That's okay. That's great. But since you have been in this industry for 2 years and have been in a business for like more than 4 or 5 years since a teenager, how do you think someone can start from zero? If I'm not to start from zero from this state onwards, what should they do and how should what should how should they approach in general, especially like with AI and everything? Because they in near future they have to integrate AI with whatever they're doing because that's how you know it's going to happen from now on. So what do you think? How should they from someone from zero, if they have ambition,
Yeah.
if they have everything, every motivation, every why? but they're still looking for like, I don't know, some other reason or just some hope. What would your message be or an advice be?
My message would be, I mean, what else are you doing, right? Like, why not take the risk? You're so young. You you have no family. Like you have your family, but you don't have a wife, you don't have kids, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have real expenses. Just try. And if you fail, good, right?
Yeah.
I forget what motivational speaker says it, but he said, I think it's Denzel Washington. He says, fail forward, fail forward. It's okay if you fail.
True.
And so yeah, take the risk, take the leap, you know, try the business idea that you'll never succeed on. Like just go and start going down the rabbit hole. That's my advice. And if they and then start, get a journal, start writing in a journal, start putting your thoughts, your ideas, your perspectives, your opinions into paper and pen. Do that. Like it will change your life. And I think a lot of people, someone that I kind of mentor, he's very ambitious. He's much younger than me. He's like, "Oh, I have all these goals. I have all these dreams." I'm like, "Are they written down anywhere?" No. Where are they? Oh, they're in my head. In your head, it's like imagine if I was an investor in your company and you started a company, you said, "Will, I want you to invest in this company." And I said, "Okay, where's the business plan?" And you said, "It's in my head." Would you think I would invest in your company?
Ah,
No.
yeah.
No. Write
Hell
it
no.
down. Write it down. Pen and paper, candlelight. Do it. That's it.
How
So
does one start? How does one start? Because like people, they're ambitious, they want to make money, they want to make a difference. But how do you think they should start? That's like the biggest question in like self-improvement industry or in just general, I'm ambition, I'm down for hard work. I'm putting how does like but I don't know how to start. What do you think uh
that's
how
the
should people
thing. Everybody stands in limbo. How do I start? What do I do? Like, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? Like, no. Just start something. Do something. One thing. And then do it again the next day. And then do it again the next day. For me, getting started in software, I was overwhelmed. Where do I start? What do I do? I don't want to take time away from real estate. Is this even like, do I want to take these risks, right? I marked off 1 hour per day of discovery work. Discovery. It's not go sell a contract or go build a website. No. 1 hour of discovery work. And that could be looking into the latest and greatest innovations in AI. That could be, doing research on other people doing AI stuff on Twitter, right? Just kind of looking at their Twitters, like what are they doing, right? And it'll just start communicating with people that are doing stuff that you're doing. Start going to meetup groups that have entrepreneurs in it. Like just start, do something. Like 90% of it is actually just showing up. Just start. That's it.
true. Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, you
Okay.
can't be.
Hmm. Okay, what do you think people have this misconception about entrepreneurship in general? Like, what do you think is the biggest misconception of entrepreneurship that people have is wrong?
That well, that it's either glorious or easy. Like, oh man, he's got it made. He's so lucky. It's so easy for him. No, no, it's so painful. Like, and they don't see all of the work done behind closed doors, right?
I
So,
I think you get that a lot since you have done a lot from a young age. I think. Do you like oh you just got lucky? Uh, you tend to get all these kind of people just talking about. I mean, just saying this to you often.
oh yeah. I mean, I had all that success in real estate, and I heard like people told me there was other people talking behind my back, which is fine. I don't care, but and I don't care about whatever they can say whatever they want. But there was people that would say, "Oh, well, his family's in real estate. They gave him all of those deals." I'm like, okay, not one person in my family is in the apartment building business. They're not. They're not. They're not even close to it. Dad's in the land business, grandfather and uncle, they're in commercial real estate. They do office buildings. Like not one person in my entire family is in the apartment business. So like it's just you're wrong. And so yeah, people either doubt entrepreneurs, but the main misconceptions is that it's easy and that it's glorious, right? I get a lot of satisfaction out of my work, but it's not it's not, butterflies and rainbows. It's just not. So,
That's nice. So where do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years, or like 5 years, let's say, because 10 years is a lot of time, but 5 years still. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you still see working the truth keep that you're doing, amazing work that you're doing here, or do you see yourself just transitioning to something else? Because since you mentioned before, in the real estate, 1 month prior, you knew that okay, I'm just gonna do it for short term and then just do something else. So like, do you get those kind of, I don't know, hints
no,
in your mind?
I'm in Truth Keep for the long run. Yeah, Truth Keep's a
Yeah,
slow burn. I don't need Truth Keep to be a multi-billion dollar company tomorrow. I'm in this for the long run. So I'll still be building and growing and improving Truth Keep. I will still be building, growing, and improving myself. I will still be educating myself every day. I'll I'll be in the best physical shape of my entire life. I'll probably be married and have kids on the way, if not already have kids. Um, I'll be more spiritual and religious than I've ever been, probably. Um, More educated than I've ever been. I'll have the best relationships that I've ever had. Yeah.
that's nice. Okay, I'm curious now. What's the day in the life of Will every day?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
So, day in the life. So I wake up. I have two offices. So depending on how busy my day is, I go to either office. One office is in the Crown Room. It's the founders of Insight Enterprise, Tim and Eric Crown. They have like a family office in Arizona. It's like this huge warehouse, and they give me a space to operate Truth Keep out of. And so it's about 25 minutes from my house. So if I don't have meetings close to my house, I'll drive there for the day. And first thing I do before anything is I put together a to-do list every single day. This is the one from yesterday. Yeah,
Wow.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I got stuff. Yeah, so I didn't finish my to-do list yesterday.
Hmm.
So I bring it in the next day and I got to finish these things, right? Um, but so I create a to-do list every single day on one of these.
Wow.
And I do it in pen and paper, and I just knock it off with a Sharpie. Boom, 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 boom. And that's about it. I work from, maybe it could be usually 10 to 14 hours a day, just about every day.
Wow.
Um, Saturdays, I usually work for a couple of hours, not 10 hours, but maybe like 4 to 5. Sundays, I'll work as well, maybe 3 to 5 hours, maybe a little bit less. But then Sundays, I'm doing a lot of like my laundry and cleaning my house and preparing for my week ahead. So yeah, that's the day. I mean, a day in a life for me is like I probably have minimum 3 all the way to like 10 meetings a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
You're
throughout
so
that whole process, I'm talking on the phone, um, messaging my team, and then like other miscellaneous work. So yeah,
you're motivating me so much just to work, even after this meeting ends, you know. Not only, I mean, you're so dedicated, like with your goals, with your board that you have in your background and everything. I mean, just the way you're talking, it just shows, you know. You don't even have to show anything. You just show the way you talk. You're dedicated towards this and you actually want to make a difference and you truly care about what you're doing. That's pretty evident. That's
I
it's inspiring and that's very wow. Um, so I mean, that's about it. Pretty much. Um, uh, they want to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Just want to have like a
Yeah.
normal life, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it,
Yeah.
but it's
That's not
just,
what you want.
yeah, that's not what I want at all. I just find it so boring.
Right.
Sure, it can be an ego thing as well, but it's like it's so boring. I would just be miserable for the rest of my life. I already am if I don't do something great. I already am
Yeah.
if I don't something great, you know. So it's just
That's a major driver. So if you feel that way, that should drive you. Um, if I were you, I'd keep doing what you're doing. The fact that you reached out to me and set this up says stuff about who you are. I respect that a lot. Um,
thank
and
you.
yeah, just keep going, dude. I mean, we're both young, so you never know. You just never know. You just got to keep grinding. And you should, I don't know if you're writing in a journal, but write in a journal,
Oh,
man.
you want me to show you? Okay, I have a lot of
Yeah,
journals actually. Uh, these are like
amazing.
two of mine, and then I have. Let me one sec. I have some. Okay, yeah. This is like I have like fancy. I'm like fancy with like journals. Like these are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. Yeah,
And
no,
then
I get it, bro.
one more in the boardroom. But yeah, it's a lot of them.
Amazing. Dude, that's like step one. Okay. So if you're
Yeah.
doing that, if you're writing down your dreams, writing down your goals, thinking about your future, just start going in that direction and you'll be good. You'll be good. I believe
I'll,
that.
but I've been procrastinating like for the past like months, probably like years at this point. You know,
Stop.
I've been in this space for a long time. Like you know, I think ever since like COVID-19 started, just even because I was a
Stop.
Fortnite addict. I was a Fortnite addict. I used to play Fortnite so many hours. Like I was like, I want to win money. You know, I want to be like the next Booga. Do you know Booga clicks?
Yeah,
Like all
yeah,
these.
yeah, yeah. Dude, I used to grind Fortnite too.
You did?
Oh yeah, mouse and keyboard, bro. I got a Razer mouse right here.
Razer.
Yeah.
I
Dude, we have the same mouse.
had a Logitech
Legit.
one though. I had the Logitech G402 before, but that just broke.
Yeah, bro.
Then I have a,
Dude, I play Fortnite. I play Fortnite like some nights I play like on a Saturday night. I'll play. Legit.
I try not to because if I do, I mean
Yeah, you
now
get
it's
to it.
boring. It's 12 hours. I end up playing, but now it's like boring. Now they have a lot of stuff. I just don't like it. You know, it's the
Yeah, it's
way it
not the
used to
same.
be. Chapter
Yeah,
three
no,
was
it's
just like no for me. So I'm like, okay, let me just fucking quit this. I'm over with this. But
not. Dude, that's cool. I love that. I love that. That's so cool.
and even like the subscribers that I gain on my YouTube, like 1.4, I had like some more, but then people unsubscribe because I was inconsistent. I gained it to Fortnite, to be honest. I used to like stream live every day for like 2 months. I
Dude,
just won
what's
like
your this was cool. No,
once.
I love expanding my network. So, let's stay in touch and yeah,
This means a lot.
yeah, you did a
So
great job, man. You did a great job.
thank you so much. You did too. Thank you just for showing up. It's not, yeah, I'll just do great work and be more dedicated, just like yourself. And it's really awesome. This was really awesome. I liked your vibe. I like the way you talk. I like the way you think. And we have a lot of common, you know, grounds, common perceptions, and yeah. Steve Jobs, to be honest, I forgot to mention, he's like my top one. I think this like I have his book and I read
Yeah.
it like multiple times, like multiple,
Holy cow.
especially like movies. Like I watch
Yeah.
each and every movie, documentaries,
Yeah.
speeches, as I mentioned before. So it was great. But yeah, thank you so much one more time. And yeah, it was great having you.